Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the English Learning Podcast. My name is Julia, and I am very happy that you are here today to practice and improve your English with me. If you are listening to this podcast, it means you want to become more confident in speaking English, and that is a wonderful goal. Today, we are going to talk about a very practical and important topic. The topic is how to speak English at the airport. Many English learners feel nervous when they travel to another country. One big reason is the airport. Airports can be busy, loud, and sometimes confusing. You may need to talk to airport staff, ask questions, understand instructions, and follow announcements. If your English is not strong, this situation can feel stressful. But here's the good news. You do not need perfect English to communicate at the airport. In most situations, you only need a few simple words and short sentences. When you know these simple expressions, your travel experience becomes much easier and more comfortable. In this episode, I will guide you step by step through the airport journey. We will talk about the important vocabulary you need, the common situations you may face, and the simple sentences you can use to communicate clearly. By the end of this episode, you will feel more prepared and more confident to speak English at the airport. So relax, listen carefully, and if possible, repeat some sentences after me. Let's begin our journey and learn how to speak English at the airport. Now let's talk about why learning airport English is so important. Airports are international places. People from many different countries travel through airports every day. Because of this, English is the most commonly used language in most airports around the world. Even if you travel to a country where English is not the main language, airport staff usually speak English. This means that when you travel, you will probably need to use English at the airport. You may need to talk to the check-in staff, ask security officers for help, understand announcements, or ask questions about your flight. For many travelers, the airport is actually the first place where they need to speak English in another country. If you do not know the basic words and sentences used at the airport, you may feel confused or nervous. You might not understand instructions, and that can make your travel experience stressful. But when you learn a few simple airport expressions, everything becomes easier. You will understand what people say, you will know how to ask for help, and you will feel more confident. Remember, you do not need to speak perfect English. You only need clear and simple communication. Even short sentences like "Where is the gate?" or "Here is my passport" can help you a lot. So learning airport English is not just about language. It is about making your travel smoother, easier, and more comfortable. And in the next part of this episode, we will start with some very important airport vocabulary that every English learner should know. Before we talk about real situations at the airport, it is very important to learn some common airport vocabulary. These are words you will often hear when you travel. Let's go through some important words together. First, the word airport. An airport is the place where airplanes arrive and depart. It is the building where passengers check in, pass security, and board their flights. Next is passport. A passport is an official document that shows your identity and nationality. You must show your passport when you travel to another country. Another important word is ticket or boarding pass. Your ticket is your travel reservation. After check-in, you receive a boarding pass. The boarding pass shows important information like your flight number, seat number, and gate number. Next is the check-in counter. This is the place where you go first when you arrive at the airport. At the check-in counter, airport staff check your passport, give you your boarding pass, and take your luggage. Now let's talk about luggage or baggage. These words mean the bags or suitcases that you travel with. Another important place is the security check. At the security check, officers inspect passengers and their bags to make sure everything is safe before boarding the plane. Next is the word gate. A gate is the place where passengers wait before they enter the airplane. Then we have the word boarding. Boarding means getting on the airplane. You may also hear the words departure and arrival. Departure means a flight leaving the airport. Arrival means a flight coming to the airport. These simple words are very common in airports. When you understand this vocabulary, it becomes much easier to follow instructions and communicate with airport staff. Now that we know these important words, let's move to the next part and learn how to ask for information when you arrive at the airport. Now let's imagine that you have just arrived at the airport. This is usually the first step of your journey. Airports can be very large and busy, so sometimes you may not know where to go first. In this situation, it is completely normal to ask for help. The good news is that airport staff are there to help passengers, and they are used to answering simple questions in English. One very useful phrase you should always remember is, "Excuse me." This is a polite way to get someone's attention before asking a question. For example, you can say, "Excuse me, where is the check-in counter?" This question helps you find the place where you check in for your flight. Sometimes airports have different buildings called terminals. Your flight may leave from a specific terminal. In this case, you can ask, "Excuse me, which terminal is my flight?" Another useful question is, "Excuse me, can you help me please?" This is a simple and polite way to ask for assistance. You might also want to ask where something is located. For example, where is the departure area? Where can I print my boarding pass? Where is the information desk? Remember, when you ask questions, speak slowly and clearly. You do not need long sentences. Short and simple questions are perfectly fine. Also, don't forget to say thank you after someone helps you. Being polite is always important when communicating in English. Asking for information at the airport is very common, and most people are happy to help you. Now that you know how to ask for help at the airport entrance, let's move to the next step of the journey, the check-in counter. Now let's move to the next step of the airport journey, the check-in counter. After you enter the airport, the first important thing you usually do is check in for your flight. The check-in counter is the place where airline staff confirm your flight, check your passport, and give you your boarding pass. When you arrive at the counter, the airline staff may greet you first. They might say something like, "Hello, good morning, may I see your passport, please?" At this moment, you can simply give them your passport and say, "Here is my passport." Sometimes the staff may ask, "Where are you flying today?" You can answer with a simple sentence like, "I'm flying to London," "I'm flying to Dubai," "I'm flying to New York." Next, the staff may ask about your luggage. For example, "Do you have any luggage to check in?" If you have bags to check, you can say, "Yes, I have one bag," or "Yes, I have 2 suitcases." If you only have a small bag with you, you can say, "I only have carry-on luggage." After checking your information, the staff will give you your boarding pass. The boarding pass is very important because it shows your seat number, gate number, and boarding time. The staff may say something like, "Here is your boarding pass. Your seat number is 18A. Your gate is gate 12. Boarding starts at 10:30. Sometimes you may want to ask a question at the check-in counter. For example, which gate is my flight? What time does boarding start? Is my luggage checked through to my final destination? These simple questions can help you understand your flight information better. Before you leave the counter, it is always polite to say, "Thank you," or "Thank you very much." The check-in process is usually simple and quick. As long as you know a few basic English sentences, you will be able to communicate easily. Now that we have finished the check-in step, the next place you will go is the security check, where passengers and bags are inspected before entering the departure area. After you finish the check-in process, the next step is the security check. Security checks are very important at airports because they help keep all passengers safe. At this point, security officers will check you and your bags before you enter the departure area. When you arrive at the security area, you will usually see a line of passengers waiting. When it is your turn, a security officer may give you simple instructions. For example, they might say, "Please put your bag on the belt." This means you should place your bag on the moving belt of the scanner machine so it can be checked. They might also say, "Please take out your laptop." If you have a laptop or sometimes a tablet in your bag, you may need to remove it and place it in a separate tray. Another common instruction is, "Please empty your pockets." This means you should take out items like your phone, keys, coins, or wallet and place them in a tray. Sometimes the officer may say, "Please walk through the scanner." You simply walk through the metal detector or body scanner. In some airports, you may also hear, "Please remove your belt," or "Please remove your shoes." If you do not understand something, you can politely ask, "Sorry, can you repeat that?" Or, "Do I need to remove my shoes?" These are simple and polite ways to ask for clarification. Security officers usually give short and clear instructions, so you only need basic English to understand them. After your bags pass through the scanner and everything is checked, you can collect your belongings and continue to the departure area. Now that you are past security, the next step is to find your gate and wait for boarding. After you finish the security check, the next step is to find your gate. Your gate number is written on your boarding pass, so it is a good idea to check it carefully. Airports usually have many gates, and sometimes they are far from each other. You will see large screens called departure boards. These screens show information about flights, such as the flight number, destination, departure time, and gate number. First, look for your flight number on the screen. When you find it, check the gate number next to it. This tells you where you need to go. If you cannot find your gate, you can ask someone for help. For example, you can say, "Excuse me, where is gate 24?" Or, "Excuse me, how can I get to gate 10? Airport staff or other passengers will usually help you. When you arrive at your gate, you will see many passengers waiting for the same flight. This is the place where you wait until it is time to board the airplane. Soon, you will hear an announcement. The announcement might say something like, "Passengers for Flight 305 to Paris, boarding will begin shortly." The word boarding means entering the airplane. Sometimes passengers board in groups. The staff may say, "Group A may board now," or "Passengers in rows 20 to 30 may board first." If you are not sure, you can politely ask, "Is this the line for boarding?" or "Has boarding started?" Waiting at the gate is usually the last step before entering the airplane. In the next part, we will learn some simple English sentences you can use on the airplane when speaking with flight attendants. Now you are on the airplane, And the next people you may speak with are the flight attendants. Flight attendants are the airline staff who help passengers during the flight. They make sure everyone is comfortable and safe. During the flight, you may need to ask for something. The good news is that you can use very simple and polite English sentences. For example, if you are thirsty, you can say, "Can I have some water, please?" Or, "May I have some juice, please?" If you are hungry and food is being served, you might hear the flight attendant ask, "Chicken or pasta?" You can answer simply, "Chicken, please," or "Pasta, please." Sometimes you may need help with your seat. For example, you might want to change your seat. You can ask, "Excuse me, can I change my seat?" If you want to go to the restroom but you are not sure where it is, you can ask, "Excuse me, where is the restroom?" Another useful sentence is, "Could you help me, please?" Flight attendants are trained to help passengers, so do not feel shy about asking for assistance. Remember to always be polite and say, "Please" and "Thank you." These small words make communication friendly and respectful. Speaking with flight attendants is usually very easy because they are used to talking with international passengers who may not speak perfect English. Now that we have learned how to communicate on the airplane, let's talk about some common problems that travelers sometimes face at the airport and how to talk about them in English. Even when you prepare well, sometimes small problems can happen at the airport. When this happens, knowing a few simple English sentences can help you explain the situation and get help quickly. One common problem is lost luggage. After you arrive at your destination, you may wait for your bag, but sometimes it does not appear. In this situation, you can go to the airline service desk and say, "Excuse me, my luggage is missing." You can also say, "I cannot find my bag," or "My luggage did not arrive." The staff will usually ask for your boarding pass and luggage tag to help find your bag. Another common problem is a delayed flight. This means the airplane will leave later than planned. If you are not sure about the time, you can ask, "Excuse me, is this flight delayed?" Or, "What time is the new departure time?" Sometimes the gate number changes. This happens when the airport moves the flight to another gate. If you are confused, you can ask, "Excuse me, has the gate changed?" Or, "Which gate should I go to now?" Another possible problem is missing your flight. If this happens, you can speak to the airline staff and say, "I missed my flight. What should I do?" Remember, problems can happen during travel, but airport staff are there to help you. If you stay calm and use simple English, you will usually find a solution quickly. Now, before we finish this episode, let's practice some simple sentences that you can use at the airport. Now let's practice some simple sentences together. These are very useful at the airport. I will say a sentence slowly and you can repeat it after me. "Excuse me, where is the check-in counter? Here is my passport. Do you have any luggage to check in? Which gate is my flight? Excuse me, where is the restroom? Can I have some water, please? Thank you for your help. My luggage is missing. Can you help me?" Remember, the key is to speak slowly, clearly, and politely. You do not need long sentences. Short and simple sentences work perfectly. Try to practice these sentences several times. The more you repeat them, the more confident you will feel when speaking English at the airport. Before we finish, I want to give you some motivation and travel confidence. Many English learners feel nervous when speaking at the airport. But remember this: you do not need perfect English to communicate. Simple and polite sentences are enough. Airport staff are trained to help travelers from all over the world. They are used to listening to people who speak different levels of English. So, do not worry about making mistakes. The most important thing is to try and speak confidently. Even if you make a small mistake, people will understand you if you speak slowly and clearly. Think of every trip as practice. Each time you use English at the airport, you become stronger and more confident. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. So take a deep breath, smile, and remember, you can speak English at the airport successfully. Let's quickly review what we learned in this episode. We started by understanding why airport English is important. Airports are busy international places, and even simple English can help you communicate clearly. Then, we learned important airport vocabulary like passport, boarding pass, luggage, gate, and boarding. We also practiced asking for information at the airport entrance and speaking at the check-in counter. Next, we talked about security checks, finding your gate and waiting for boarding. We also learned how to talk to flight attendants on the plane and handle common problems, like lost luggage or delayed flights. Finally, we practiced simple sentences you can use, and I encouraged you to speak confidently and not worry about mistakes. Now it's your turn. Practice these sentences before your next trip. Try speaking slowly, clearly, and politely. Remember, every time you practice, your English becomes stronger and your travel experience becomes easier. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow the podcast, practice every day, and share it with friends who want to improve their English too. You are ready to speak English confidently at the airport, so get ready for your next journey.